Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Denonu, and we're going to be talking about the Hawkeye season finale. And with this episode, I really didn't know how they were going to wrap it up because leading up to this, Kingpin has been the bad guy behind the scenes, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, other than just to showcase him in the MCU. But outside of that, I figured it was going to be rushed because the show didn't really have a villain. It was more of a character piece between Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. So if anybody was the bad guy, it would be her mom, you know, or the mom's husband, the swordsman. But since none of that was really fully established, I mean, hell, Echo's been the bad guy up until this point. um, they really didn't have anything really to do. So so I figured Kingpin was just gonna be shoehorned in here, which he was. And he was fine in this. I mean, I'm not knocking the fact that they did it. I mean, I'm glad that they did it. But it just solidifies him being in the MCU, and then you got Daredevil and Spider-Man. So that's gonna, hopefully lead them into a new Daredevil season that they're gonna, probably drop on Disney Plus. That's what I'm hoping. A lot of the Echo stuff in this kind of feels like that because I know in the comic book she was first introduced in a Daredevil comic, and Kingpin, sent her to go kill Daredevil. So um, I'm assuming that's why they're in this. They're the glue that you need to be like, oh, maybe I should go check out Daredevil when Disney puts out that. But to get back on the Hawkeye side of things, this episode had a lot of good stuff. In fact, I only really have a couple, really gripes with it. The the fight scene at the end was done extremely well. Where they basically you had Hawkeye and Kate fight the what were they called? The Trust the Bro, the Tracksuit Mafia gang, and they fought them in the I forget what that area is called with the with the frozen lake and the big tree in New York. I'm not from New York, so I want to say I could be wrong. I'm just gonna Rockefeller Plaza. I'm gonna throw that out there. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But that scene was done very good. You got to see all the cool trick arrows and stuff that Hawkeye and Kate was using, so that was good. My one of my main gripes was you had Yelena Belova in this from the Black Widow movie, and she was going after Hawkeye because somebody just straight up told her, "Hey, look, Hawkeye killed, Black Widow." With no evidence whatsoever. She was just gone, and some lady handed her a packet with Clint Barton's name on it, and she just took it as you know, like it was absolute truth. Like, no, she didn't do no investigation, no nothing, and just was like, "I'm gonna kill Hawkeye," even though that makes no sense. But instead of even talking to the man, she just immediately tried to kill him. So that whole fight scene to me was tropey. Not a fan of that. I hate when they do that, even in comic books, movies, uh, hell, even in some cases, books, where they always try to. If Hawkeye would have just explained, what happened to Black Widow, then he can prove it. He can back up evidence. He can probably take her to a few Avengers that know what happened during the blip. So why didn't he just do that? Why didn't he just call her up and be like, "Hey, look, I know what you're here for, but you're wrong. I didn't kill her. Here's why." You know, instead of this, "Oh, you're not gonna believe me, so I'm just not even gonna attempt to tell you." Wasn't a big fan of that. My other main gripe was with Kingpin. At the end, since Kingpin is, I guess you could say, the bad guy, Kate had to fight somebody. So at the end, it was cool the way that they did it. There was one part I didn't like. I'm okay with it because overall I would say I'm okay with it. There's one thing I didn't like, and I'll mention that in a sec. But overall the fight was good. They showed Kingpin having in real life what I would call super strength. So that was, fucking awesome. Uh Kate got that Spider-Man treatment. And I haven't seen it since the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, but it was when Spider-Man tried to web Kingpin and he just pulled him towards him and knocked him out. He did the same move against Kate. Love that shit. Because I think he does it in the comic books a couple times too. But there was a part during that scene where Kingpin got hit by a car. And I don't know how else to describe it other than the fact it was shitty. He got hit by a car and then flew into a toy store. So that was fine, but the fact of him getting hit by the car was odd because he was like 3 steps from the car. The car was parked, parallel parked next to him, and he was like 3 or 4 steps away from it. And then suddenly, in like a jump cut, we get the car speeding towards him and hitting him into this toy store. And when I first seen it, I was like, this makes no fucking sense. Anybody who has driven a car knows that you have to pull out, you have to line it up, and she was speeding, so she had to, get speed, get up to speed by a certain point. And it just doesn't look right. I don't know if they had another scene of her being Kate's mom, because Kingpin was there attacking Kate's mom, and she was trying to get in said car when this all happened. And I don't know if they had a scene that was in there where she jumped in the driver's seat and pulled off and acted like she was leaving, and then she came back around and hit him. I don't know if something was cut, but that's what it felt like. It definitely was kind of shitty, to where it was no continuity between, because she was in the back seat when Kingpin was trying to kill her and he ripped the door off and everything. So she was in the back seat. Kingpin smacked Kate around a couple times, and then suddenly Kingpin's getting hit by a car. And at first I thought it was somebody else because it was so sudden, right? And I was like, well, no, Kate's mom is shown behind the driver's seat with the airbag, right? So I was like, okay, well, this makes no sense, because she was only like 5 feet away from him. So when did she have the time to get in, start the car, drive around, and then hit Kingpin? It just looked awkward. It looked completely shit. So outside of that, and I would say just an extremely small nitpick, um, I don't like the fact that Kate beat the Kingpin with like explosive arrows and trick arrows and stuff. Like I mean, I get it. I mean, I guess Kate had to beat somebody, because she's gonna be the new Hawkeye or whatever. So that's why I said it's just a small nitpick. But Kingpin was a strong character. I mean, if you see that version of him in Daredevil, he hand to hand whooped Daredevil's ass, and they would really whoop each other's ass, and he be whooped the Punisher's ass. So I mean, if anything, using the trick arrows, I mean, I'm glad they just didn't show her just punch him out and knock him out. I'm, glad they didn't do that. But I would have explained it a bit better. Let's say, because they had arrows with sleeping gas in it. Let's say she did something, he breathed the gas, and that made him woozy and he passed out, or something like that. Give Kingpin his moment in the fight and then have something else happen. Or just have him, like, knock Kate around and then leave. Have Kate get a big moment in the fight, have Kingpin have his moment, give Kate a really big moment where she ones-ups him in the fight some kind of way, but then just have Kingpin get away. Instead of having Kingpin get defeated by this little girl who's never really fought anybody. That's my whole gist of it. But like I said, small nitpick. The show was about her, so you have to have her do something. They do that in movies and TV shows all the time. So, but outside of that, like I said, this episode was okay. As a, you know, final episode to the series, it was fine. Clint made it home for Christmas, and brought Kate and the dog with her, or with him rather. So, didn't really have a whole lot of flaws with it. I mean, it was good. I liked it a lot. If you guys are into Hawkeye, I would say check it out. But it's really all I got to say about it. It was damn good. Fight scenes was okay. CG was okay. They used another pin particle arrow to shrink something this time. I thought that was funny. They just let those two guys in that truck die. But but it was fun. I mean, it was fun, just like how the show was, meant to be. And that's exactly what I wanted, it to be. I wanted it to be fun. It looked like a fun Christmas type story that you would tell with, the Hawkeye Matt Fraction run story stuff in it. So, but outside that, I mean, yeah, go check it out, YouTube. I mean, I think they still got it up. I mean, it came out today, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. But anyways, in the next couple of videos here, we're gonna be doing a reaction to Doctor Strange. And I also got to give my thoughts on the new Spider-Man movie and the new Matrix movie, because I've seen both of those in the past few days too. So be on the lookout for them in the next probably 2 or 3 videos here. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.